This is Welcome Home, written by Daniel Burnett, narrated by Jeff Lewis. Home. Michael got out of his car and looked at his old house, a small, crooked cranny in a neat and tidy little village. Since his parents had passed, there was no need to knock on the door. But to surprise his much-loved neighbors with a visit was a different matter. Rat-a-tat-tat. An old lady answered the door and looked confused. They exchanged looks. Michael looked at her with a big smile and waited for the penny to drop. The old lady looked at him and waited also. An old man appeared behind her, asking who was at the door. Recognizing him immediately, the old man gasped and told Michael how wonderful it was to see him and threw out the old, "Hasn't time flown by?" The old lady, still confused, muttered an indistinct language as she shuffled off down the hallway, completely unmoved by her reunion with the unrecognized former neighbor. The old man explained how dementia had set in a couple of years ago, and that she now does not react to things the way that she had used to. He invited Michael into the kitchen of the house and urged him to take a seat. He did so and asked how their daughter, Michael's childhood best friend, was doing. The old man paused his tea making and sighed. "She's dead, Michael. You know this." Michael was completely flabbergasted and apologized for their loss. He firstly asked what happened and when, then asked why the old man thought he knew about this. The old man turned around, the hot spoon trembling in his hands. He looked directly at Michael with such pain and took a deep breath. "Michael, when you were little, you pushed Amanda in front of a car and she died. You have come to this house every year on the anniversary and asked how she's doing for 16 years. I think it's time to stop now, as it just upsets everybody." Michael stood up and looked at the old man. He didn't know what to think of the whole situation. He couldn't get his head around it. He had no recollection of any of this. He explained to the old man that he did not remember any of this happening, and that according to his recollection, this was the first time in 16 years that he had even been back in the village. The old man handed Michael his cup of tea and took a seat next to the now somewhat teary Michael. He explained to him that during their meeting the previous year, it had been agreed that this would stop. No more coming around on the anniversary, pretending not to know anything. He also sought to remind Michael of his previous warning that if this happened again, he would kill him, like he wanted to when it happened. Michael, now looking absolutely horrified, stated that he would like to leave and would not bother them again. As he put his hand down on the table to lift himself, the old man swung down a cleaver. Michael screamed in agony as blood quickly pooled around the table. The old lady appeared behind him with a rope and tied Michael's arms tight to his ribs. He couldn't move. How could this fragile old lady possess such strength? His screaming was subdued sharply as the deranged couple rushed to cover his mouth with duct tape. They could still make out Michael's sincerest apologies for his heinous childhood crime. The old lady's muttering got louder as tears streamed down Michael's cheeks. The old man leaned in close to Michael's face and calmly revealed to him that death was a summons to the already dead. If they killed him, he explained, they could speak to their daughter once more. Michael screamed louder into the duct tape, making a dull hum as he sat there, still bleeding from his 2 missing fingers. The old man, growing tired of Michael's objections to his torture, grabbed a toolbox from under the sink. He pulled out a hammer. Michael's objections seemed to grow irritatingly more frequent and effortful. The old man pulled out a tin pencil case and rattled it gently at the bound man. He opened it up and pulled out a handful of old 6-inch nails. The old man and his wife tied Michael's feet and legs and then laid him down, face up across the table, pushing their fingers into the stumps of Michael's former fingers in order to gain a level of compliance. Michael lay there, eyes slammed shut, panting like a dog in the hot sun. The blood now starting to slow a little, thanks to the clotting process kicking in. He felt a slight tickle on his Adam's apple. The tickle then turned into a slight digging, scratching feeling. And then, with one hard thump, the first nail scraped through Michael's Adam's apple, and the follow-through of the hammer rattled up and down his windpipe like a fist through drywall. Rat-a-tat-tat. Everything stopped. Michael tried to scream, but the pain put a short, sharp stop to that. The old man looked at the old lady in silence, both sweating at the physical exertion of the ordeal. He gave a look of inevitable concern to his wife before, hammer in hand, shutting the kitchen door and heading towards the front door. Michael could hear every word. "Hi, Dad. It's only me, Amanda. I brought you those leaflets over for the new home that we spoke about yesterday. Do you remember? Is Michael here yet? He said he was going to surprise you." Michael heard the voice get closer and the front door shut. He then heard a loud thud and then silence for about 10 long seconds. "He's dead, Amanda. You know this. When you were little, you pushed him in front of a car. You ask this every year. I think it's time to stop now, as it just upsets everybody."